jump on my 45 seconds and start before my slides get up there. My name's Quin Carver. I work for LINZ. I'm going to talk to you about the challenge I guess all of us are facing in terms of the huge number of end-user devices that are popping up, doing all kinds of weird and wonderful things that our staff want to use effectively, and how that's kind of out of sync with the way we traditionally manage devices. These devices, their applications, are popping up faster than the support models to look after them. So the first thing we did is we created an innovation fund. We took service fee credits from our suppliers when they didn't quite meet our targets. We locked them away aside so we could invest those without the difficulty of having to have approvals or anything like that. We could say, here's something cool over here, let's try it, here's some money we've got to do it with. And it gave us a real kickstart. This slide is a little bit about us. This is what we call our place. This is our visual representation of what we do as an organisation. The three important things to us: managing land, managing informations, and managing transactions, and then our values and the ways we work. Traditionally, from an IT perspective, we've managed black boxes. We put the same on everyone's desk. We keep it cheap because we keep them standard, we keep it consistent, and that's the way most of us have tried to manage our enterprise IT environments. But that is under increasing pressure now because people expect more. They want iPads, this new Microsoft tablet that's been announced today that they're going to sell us all. People want these kinds of things, and we don't want to slow them down where they need them to do their jobs, where these things are appropriate. This slide is a bit of a parody on the old Antiques Roadshow. This is how most of our staff view the operating environment we supply for them. It's XP based, it's 2003 based, it's old, it's slow, and in their minds it's worthless. Our annual engagement survey was reasonably critical, particularly the verbatim comments about people having better equipment at home, having better applications at home, having a better user experience at home than they do when they come to work, and that the tools and the services that we give them are harder to work with, and they're not giving them what they need to do their job. We also have a really technical workforce. From an IT perspective, they're almost like developers, or a good chunk of our staff are. They're developing applications, or they're manipulating huge sets of data. They're using huge detailed and massive volumes of imagery. And in order to do this, they have to employ all sorts of workarounds because the way they work, they've got VMs for Ubuntu and they've got VMs for Windows 7 that run off our standard XP environment. They've got huge sets of USB storage that are under their desk, or they've got multiple machines under their desk, because the way they need to work, the tools they need to do their job, and the way they need to interface with technology isn't compatible with the standard way that we manage enterprise IT through one-size-fits-all standard black boxes for everybody because that's cheap and that's easy. So we're actually making their job really difficult. These workarounds aren't malicious. It's not like they're trying to bypass processes because they want to work around and be naughty on the side. This is what they need to do. This is the way our staff need to work. While this is a really busy slide, I apologise for that. What it shows, this big blue box, is shipments of Microsoft Windows PCs. For decades, that's dominated the market. I'm sure you all know that. The whole way we work has been geared around managing Windows boxes, particularly at LINZ. Our whole structure is about managing, securing Windows PCs. In the last couple of years, shipments of PCs, and this slide's talking about phones and tablets as PCs, but they are computing devices that people use and they use to interface, have dropped to less than 50% of shipments. So that's saying that the way that we work is wrong. The way that we've geared our structure for supporting our users is challenged. So we need to change the way that we work. And so we're shifting from managing devices. We want to manage data. We want to manage core applications. We think we can do that well. We can't manage devices well. Now, because there is so much happening in that space, it is changing so fast, we realise we don't have all the answers. So we took a bit of this innovation fund. We started small. We set up a Wi-Fi network internally, three modes: guests, for guests of the organisation; mobile, for basically anybody from our organisation to bring along whatever smartphone, tablet, PC they wanted, and they could connect to that from anywhere in our building and use internet services; and then a corporate one for standard corporate services. And that was reasonably successful. So then we thought, well, okay, let's trial this BYO style approach. Can users be self-sufficient? And we thought an easy way to test that, a cheap start and a small start, and again using some of that money that we'd received back as credit from suppliers, was in phones. This is sort of regarded as the point at which phones went from being geeky to cool. It's Gordon Gekko and Wall Street on the beach. And from that point on, people have been motivated by smartphones. You know, we can move data centres on a weekend and not have a problem, but if someone's phone breaks, it's a big issue in IT. So we created a policy where we fund enough for a reasonable phone that we know will work and will work well for those who just want that, and then we allow people to top that up and buy a Galaxy, buy an Apple iPhone, and created a policy and a framework where they know what they're accountable for, what they'll receive, and what we'll do for them. And that worked really well. Colin McDonald, our last CEO, it was wrapped. He had a problem with his iPhone. He jumped on Google, found a YouTube video clip on how to fixed it himself. The old Palm Trio we gave him, it was an easy phone to manage and secure, he would never have done that with. So then after that sort of little success and thinking, well, that worked, let's go to the next step and let's try piloting or testing, bring your own PC. So we teamed up with Acer and Lenovo. They lent us some consumer-style devices, some cool all-in-one touchscreen PCs, some tablets, some Ultrabooks, some consumer-style laptops. And we threw them out in the business. We stood up some virtual infrastructure, cheap as anything, no testing, no design, built it up, put some of our corporate apps on it, and said, here you go, use it. Keep your old box on your desk in case this breaks, because we want you to keep working, but try it out. How do you find it? Work from home, work from overseas, and see if that's a useful style of working. And again, see if you can support that device largely on your own. You get some guidance from us. From a support perspective, it was a disaster. As an IT project, it was horrible. We had outages at midday, or outages throughout the day where we had to apply fixes and patches and things like that. Because we didn't do any testing, we didn't really do even a design. We just got some engineers to build it. It was just a sandpit. But we had some senior managers on it. We had some technical staff. We had some staff in our processing centres. And despite all of these technical problems, they loved it. They worked on it really well. Any other IT project would have been hammered. If we'd put any other piece of technology or service out there that was that unreliable and that poorly designed, we would have got a really hard time, and justifiably so. Even internally, we were quite split, those who were happy that we were just getting on and doing something versus those who thought we needed to put a bit more thinking into it. But what we did find out of that is that we still do need to cater for those who aren't interested in tablets and smartphones and all kinds of things like that. We've got staff at LINZ who probably were in this picture. We've got lifers. I guess like all of us as government agencies, we have people who have done 30, 40, 50 years. They want technology to be invisible. They want the stuff to just work. And so whatever we do, however we do try and innovate in our desktop, it's got to be simple. At a fundamental layer, it's got to just work. And so we've got to account for those people while we also account for those people who want tablets or Ultrabooks or whatever the latest fandangled thing is that pops around the corner. We've got to cater for both ends of the spectrum, which goes back to caring what we care for, which is our corporate data, our corporate applications, and leaving that device to those who care about it. At the end of that proof of concept, OPA, by the way, is our place anywhere, the fact that you can connect to this from anywhere. We surveyed people on a scale of 1 to 5. 5 being yes, absolutely, keep working on this. 4 being yes with some work, right down to 1, no, it's a dog, don't touch it. Everybody rated 4s and 5s. Despite this being unreliable, despite it being poorly designed, despite not all of our services being managed from it, people loved that style of working. They liked the fact that they could control to a level the device they had. They liked if they wanted, they could have something that's simple that just worked. And they liked the fact that they could, the intention of working, the style that we were moving down towards. They liked that path and direction, managing corporate data, corporate applications securely, and IT focusing on that, and then creating a framework for those who care about the device to manage that. So that all told us that there's a real strong driver for change within our organisation. People want to work in a different way. They also realise that IT trying to manage black boxes through standardisation doesn't work. So we've created a business case. We're hoping that will be signed off by our executive in a couple of weeks' time, and then we'll start rolling out this kind of an approach more throughout the organisation of a virtual desktop, creating a framework where people can work the way they need to work with the tools they need, while IT can manage and look after what we do best, and that's corporate apps and corporate data. Thank you all for your time.